Hi, everybody. It's so good to be back. We're kicking off live streams for the week. I just want to thank everybody for your support over the past week. I don't want to get into it too much, but I will say that things are looking good. The family member in question is out of the hospital. And so I want to thank everybody for being so supportive again. It really, really meant a lot. And for your understanding and for your helping to keep my spirits up with your positivity. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are just the best. All right, so also it's the first live stream of the week, which means time for me to gift 5 memberships. Here we go. Hold on. At the beginning of every week, I always gift 5 memberships in an effort to try and come somewhere close to your generosity. You guys are so generous. Hold on, there we go. And as you can see, I'm still a little bit sick as well. I still have a little bit of a cold. I'm glad you guys like my shirt. I wore this for my Twisters review. I filmed it. I'm editing it as we speak. I'm hoping that it will go up a little bit after this live stream. It might go up tomorrow. I'm working on it. As I said, I still have some family stuff going on. So it's very nice to see everybody. We have some great stories to go over. And thank you, of course, as always, for joining me. Hold on, I'm a little parched. I made sure I had my water today. All right. Oh yeah, and of course I'll be covering the Acolyte season finale tomorrow. Let's see what they could possibly do with this final episode. All right. So, story number 1. Boop. Okay, so Comic-Con is coming up fast. It's in fact next weekend. Thank you, Ryan. Comic-Con comes up, it starts a week from this Thursday. And I think they're still recovering from not only COVID, but strikes. I also think that the way the digital landscape has changed, you don't necessarily need to be at Comic-Con to make a big splash anymore. And I also wonder if all the contentious situation that's going on with the fans, if maybe that has leaked into Comic-Con a little bit. It used to be the point of Comic-Con was that you would get footage of fans going absolutely crazy about your upcoming project. But now, who the heck knows how they're going to react? Dwayne Johnson found out the hard way when he got booed. And we're certainly going to talk about that when we talk about why James Gunn might not be in attendance this year. So I think that, as Hollywood's relationship with the studios have changed, I think Comic-Con has become a little bit of a different situation. So we'll see. But we're going to go over the schedule that they do have. But you'll see that Hall H is, not, I think, what it should be. All right. So here we go. Really, Saturday's really the only day that I think makes a big difference. Hey, Writer Boy, thanks for gifting the membership. Oh, and Talahuli, your enthusiasm is a delight. Okay, so Hall H, here we go. Here's the schedule for, thank you, Danny. Here's the schedule for, they only have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday up for Hall H, but Sunday is Kids Day, so they really don't have anything up there anyway. All right, so on Thursday, they're kicking off with a Transformers 1 presentation. Thanks, Lawson. A Transformers 1 presentation, although speaking of Kids Day on Sunday, I'm surprised that Transformers 1 isn't presenting on Sunday because it does skew so for such little kids. So there's that. Travis, we're not quite at the question section for this just yet. Travis says, if Comic-Con leaves San Diego, where would you like it to go? I think it should stay in San Diego. I think that it's very much a part of the feel of the convention. And I think that there's too many other distractions in other places. I like it where it is. But I guess Vegas makes the most sense because a ton of cheap rooms. And it's still close enough to Los Angeles. Because, basically you want to have a situation. Wow, Jeff, that's so generous of you. Thank you. You basically want a situation, you really made it rain, Jeff, with the memberships, where you want people in Hollywood to be able to get to the convention day of, same day. With San Diego, you don't have to stay overnight. you can have talent come in and then get out of there. They can helicopter in, helicopter out. And I think with Vegas, you have the same kind of potential situation. So that's, I think, one of the reasons that you're probably going to see it stay on the West Coast if they were to move it. All right, so back to this schedule. So then SpongeBob SquarePants, then Percy Jackson and the Olympians. You know, I think that certainly has a fandom, but I don't know if it's like, for instance, if you, like, here's the thing. When you go to Comic-Con, you can't leave Hall H once you're in it. You can't get back in. So you camp out all night, and then you sit there, and then you have to watch all the panels for the day. Like, and I think you really have to wonder, at what point is your audience going to be like, oh man, break time, you know? Because Hall H has its own food and bathrooms. So once you get in, you spend the whole day there. And so, I don't know, like, people are, I think they're giving away seats for this Ultimate Deadpool and Wolverine thing at the bottom, at the very end. But you're not going to want to sit through all that. You know, I hope they do give away special seats so you don't have to sit through Transformers 1, SpongeBob, Percy Jackson, and What We Do in the Shadows. I can't imagine anybody. I'd be surprised if they had a line for Hall H on Thursday, because that just is a very weak day. Now, it is going to end with the Deadpool and Wolverine celebration of life, which I think is very, very funny. And that's to celebrate that the movie is opening in theaters that day. Sean Levy, Kevin Feige, Hugh Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds will all be there. And I think that's very nice. And they're giving away, I think they're giving away tickets. You can, like, enter online, put your name down. But I think that sounds very nice. And, you know, it's something for them to do with Hall H, to be honest. You know, that's interesting, Dreads. Will they screen the film there? They might. I think that's a potential. You know, they're going to screen House of the Dragon, not in Hall H, but they're going to screen the episode a day early. You know, I think it would be nice if they screened the movie there, maybe with, like, running commentary from Ryan Reynolds. I think it's a nice thing to do, and it keeps the focus on the movie. And I think Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion, continues to be a marketing genius. But overall, this is a horrible Hall H Thursday. All right, so is Friday any better? Let's take a look at it. All right, so we kick off with The Boys at 10 a.m. That's, by the way, these are all Pacific times, so 3 hours before East Coast. But The Boys will have ended season 4 already at this point. I'll be curious to see how they talk about season 5, if they talk about it. I'm sure they'll talk about Gen V a little bit. I do wonder if they'll field questions about what I'm expecting is to be a very divisive season finale, particularly now. Like, if you thought the show was going hard on conservatives beforehand, it's like full on, like, the world will change if they win the election situation. Like, when you'll see the episode on Thursday, which, by the way, as I talked about on Movie Math, goes up on the final day of the Republican convention when Donald Trump will be giving his acceptance speech for the nomination. So, like, the Boys has really gone there. And I'll be curious to see what kind of questions they get on Friday. Then Lord of the Rings. Wow. And then you got to sit through the Amazon Lord of the Rings show. Then Doctor Who, which is having a horrible time with fans. These panels, I'd be curious to see what the questions are going to be. I would hope that the talent in front of him behind the camera tries to, you know, I would be like, dude, if somebody asked a really rude question, but I would try to be nice and I would hold my ground, but I would try to not. I hope they don't get into a fight with anybody during these panels. Then The Walking Dead has 2 back-to-back panels, which they usually do. Then Collider's directors on directing. They don't have particularly good directors. They have, Antoine Fuqua. Maybe he'll talk about the Michael Jackson bio a little bit. And I think the other one was Roland Emmerich. Maybe they'll have some surprise directors show up. And then Alien Romulus will close out the day. Probably, you know, a new trailer or something like that. It's not a great day. You know, like, I don't really see anything there for myself to cover except maybe the Alien Romulus trailer. But that's going to be 8 o'clock at night for me. So this is extremely weak Comic-Con. In the past, I would cover Comic-Con and I would be working every single day to cover all of Comic-Con, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And now only Saturday is a day that's important to discuss. All right? So here's Saturday. And even then, it's only the end of the day. So I don't know why Marvel and DC are on the same day. That makes absolutely no sense to me. If I were the court, I guess they're just happy they're showing up. But if I were the Comic-Con coordinator, I'd be like, one of you has to go to Friday and one of you has to be on Saturday. Or, thank you, Alberto. That makes me feel really nice that you like my Romulus trailer breakdown. That makes me feel really good. It makes me more excited about Alien Romulus. But I would say, like, one of you has to go on Friday and one of you has to go on Saturday. And if they both refused, I'd say, all right, then one of you has to go in the morning and then one of you has to go in the evening. The fact that they're literally back to back is insane to me. That they start out and they do the Penguin panel and then they go right into the Marvel Studios panel. Why would they do that? And by the way, that's Penguin panel starts at 7:45 p.m. at night on Saturday. This is late Saturday night. The Marvel Studios panel starts at 9 p.m. Pacific. Europe is going to be like asleep when all this news drops. It's weird to me that this stuff isn't at least during the day. I mean, it's great for my schedule. I can have a whole Saturday. It's going to mess up movie math, but part of me was going to push movie math, but then I was like, no, that's the Deadpool and Wolverine opening weekend movie math. So I'm probably going to work and stay up. I'm going to have a regular day on Saturday. I'm going to work all night, maybe get a little bit of sleep, and then cover the box office. I don't know what I'm going to do about House of the Dragon. And I'll probably push House of the Dragon's breakdown until Monday. I'll just, let me see. Let me see what my schedule's like. Let me see how fast I can get House of the Dragon done. But I mean, like, it's nuts. Okay. All right, so this day, Superman and Lois, the CW show presentation. Then Keanu Reeves is like, dude, stop trying to make Berserker a thing. It's never going to happen. But he's like, oh, yes, it is. They're promising surprises and exciting things. Star Trek, Entertainment Weekly's Bold School. Can just anybody get into Hall H? Then the Penguin panel. That's great. I told you I'd heard that they're going to potentially drop Batman 2 casting during that panel. And it's expected to make a little bit of a splash, which might be another reason that maybe Marvel dropped a lot of its stuff in advance. Because I think that people are, from what I heard, all of Hollywood is expecting the Penguin panel to get people talking. And no one's going to talk about the Penguin show, so it's got to be something else that's going to come up during the panel. Okay? I've heard that people should pay attention to the Penguin panel. And then Marvel Studios will present. Now, what are they going to talk about, right? So I would think that the Agatha and Captain America casts are probably going to show up, even though their trailers have already played. And, I'm sure they're going to have Anthony Mackie there. Could they get Harrison Ford? Maybe Harrison Ford might show up. So you might have that a little bit. Then I think I wouldn't be surprised if they walked out the Fantastic Four cast. Fantastic Four starts filming the day after Comic-Con on Monday. But, in London, but that doesn't mean they can't show up and be like, hey, what's up? Or maybe they'll have a cast photo or their first look at them in their costumes, something. And I mean, the fact that they start filming right away is too exciting. Thunderbolts, I think I agree with many of you. They'll have a little something about Thunderbolts because that's wrapped filming. And then I agree. I would really like to see some clarification on what's going on with the Avengers. Will they pick a director? There's a rumor going around that they're going to have a new writer. Benedict Cumberbatch swears that he's going to film this thing soon, but it's so far from being put together, I don't understand how they could be filming it very soon. I'm like, don't rush it. Please, for the love of God, don't rush it. So we'll see. I mean, they don't have a ton of time. Marvel only has an hour and a half. So we'll see how much time. That's right, Ben 10. It would be nice to have some Daredevil in there. But I think that Marvel is feeling going after DC. I think that they feel that like, it's a little close for comfort. And so don't be surprised if they don't save a lot of their stuff for D23 because of that reason. I think that don't underestimate that Penguin panel. So that's what I would say. And then the only other thing that I think is interesting, also on Saturday, is Batman Caped Crusader will be screening. Matt Reeves, big day for him on Saturday. I've actually seen all 10 episodes of Caped Crusader, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. I can't say anything until this day. The review embargo is in August, but on July 27th, on Saturday, I can tweet about it finally. So I'm very happy about that. I'll be able to talk to you about it. But expect a little bit of a splash from this show. So we'll see. So that's pretty nice. All right, so that's what's kind of going on with Comic-Con. Really, it's, if you're going to be at Comic-Con, that's awesome. Okay, I hope you have a great time. It's a really nice experience. If you're a fan of comic books and this kind of entertainment, you should go to Comic-Con once in your life, because just to see it. But I think this is going to be like a pretty low-key Comic-Con. And so really, it's just going to be Saturday. I think the rest of the days are just going to be fun. There's no Star Wars, although Star Wars, of course, has Star Wars Celebration. Sometimes Star Wars has been at Comic-Con, but they're probably going to be at D23. But yeah, there's just like very little. Usually there are tons of trailers that would come out. Every day there would be major panels from the other studios. It's just very, very slow this year. So, does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before we move on to the next one? Atom Sphere, I did not hear specifically what they'll be revealing about the Batman 2, but based on what they're saying about this being a pretty big deal panel, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced a villain and the casting of the villain. But let's see. That's just my guess. All I know is I heard that they are expecting Batman 2 casting during that panel. Nacho says, Matt Reeves has been writing since March 2022. Chris Nolan wrote The Dark Knight in 6 months. This new Batman movie better be the second coming of Citizen Kane. I think it might be. I really trust Matt Reeves at this point. Mac Ward says, where's the Joker trailer? I don't think it's going to be at Comic-Con because there's no panel for it. Because don't forget, Matt Reeves' Batman has nothing to do with Joker. So there's nowhere to air it. So I don't believe that they're going to air during this. They're not going to present. Let's see here. Steven says, do you think we'll get anything about season 2 of X-Men 97? Or do you think they'll save it for D23? Probably save it for D23. An hour and a half is not a lot of time. But, they're also recalibrating all these franchises. Kevin Feige has announced a lot of projects that have not materialized. I don't know if he wants to keep doing that to himself. Jeff says, have you heard the big Marvel leak revealed a Wanda Solo movie being announced at San Diego Comic-Con? Let's see. Don't get me in trouble, Jeff. We'll just see what happens. Like that Kevin Feige with Kevin, well, now you can't make that joke anymore. But Kevin Feige, really paying attention to the scoop community is not a joke. Don't get, you got to be really careful. Let's see here. Gap says, so they're showing the House of the Dragon episode at Comic-Con on Saturday. Yes, they are. You get to see it a day early. So there must be nothing huge in that episode for them to show it a day early. MN92 says, Grace, do you think, in your opinion, it's a good chance that Freeze will be announced as the main villain? He really wanted Freeze, right? I'd love to see a good Mr. Freeze. Although I think I'd like to see them bring Sexy back to Batman. Let's bring Sexy back. I think that's something that's really missing from DC in general these days. In fact, I don't think the new Superman movie looks particularly sexy either. Let's see here. Hey, C.T. Williams. Let's see here. Mish says, so they barely have any trailers to show now? They'll probably show a full Penguin trailer, maybe. But I don't think you're going to get a lot of trailers out of Comic-Con, particularly since Marvel just dropped 2 of them. I think they'll probably save their trailers for D23, which is in early August. Dancing Dog 60 says, do comic book creators get any play at Comic-Con? They sure do. But, excuse me, but not in Hall H. They have their own little panels. They got their own little panels. I think once they start writing better comics, maybe we'll start caring a little bit more again about what they say. I think comic books are in a pretty sorry state these days. Jonathan says Joker 2 is above Comic-Con is beneath Joker 2. I don't think it's a genre property. I don't think that's true. But I think, they don't need it. Let's see here. Sophia says, how about Spider-Man 4? I haven't heard anything about that. I'd be very surprised. Of course, I think Spider-Man 4 is a little bit ways off from... I think they're going to focus on fixing up Avengers first, to be honest with you. That's funny, J. Jonah Jameson. Would there be a Scarlet Witch movie in 2028? Like, it would be so far away. Sorry. All right, Wanda's attorney wants to know, why do you think that James Gunn is skipping Comic-Con? Let's go to the second story. Okay. Story number 2. Hold on. Boop. Where is James Gunn? He's not showing up just as he said he wouldn't, but neither is Peter Safran. Matt Reeves' corner of the DC universe will be presenting, and probably, from what I hear again, generating a substantial headline if all goes according to plan. But where will James Gunn be? Where will Peter Safran be? What about their projects? They have Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow coming up, right? Although I don't think that they're... Danny, Peter Safran is the co-head of DC Studios, which we always forget about because he's never anywhere to be seen. That's right, Poke. James Gunn is still filming Superman. But there's a little thing called taking a break for a day to go and promote your multi-million-dollar movie at the biggest fan event of the year. Many, many movies take a break from filming. There have been so many Comic-Con panels where they say, we're in the middle of filming right now. The studio pays for a private plane. They stick all of you on it. You fly into San Diego. You get off and you walk over there. Then you do your presentation. Then you get back on the plane and you go back and you film. There is absolutely no reason that he could not present. He just decided not to. All right, so let's talk about maybe why not. Because he does have stuff to promote. He has Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. They're selling shirts, which I've seen promoted online at the convention, but they're selling those shirts right now on the DC store. So I don't know if those are even associated with the movie. I think they're just selling generic Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow t-shirts that have nothing to do necessarily with the film, which I feel is weird. I'd be like, we should scrap and pull all Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow merch until we have it all settled under what the movie's going to be. But they're not doing that. They also have Creature Commandos, the animated series, which they could spotlight. Peacemaker has begun filming season 2. There's that rumor about who's going to be Booster Gold. That's right. How about something about lanterns? Why don't they have some people talk about lanterns with Tom King and Damon Lindelof and that dude from Ozark? That's right, Mystic. What about some announcements or some updates on Waller? They have a lot they could be discussing. And I think that, James Gunn, of course, is no stranger to Comic-Con because he's presented for Marvel many, 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 many times. In fact, he was there last year talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, my feeling is that he doesn't want to pull a Dwayne Johnson. Oh, remember this? Remember Dwayne Johnson's absolutely horrific Comic-Con appearance. So he suited up. He floated down from the sky, right? Look, you can see the thing holding him up. He went all in. He talked Warner Brothers into doing a Super Bowl commercial, even though they never do a Super Bowl commercial. Dwayne Johnson was like, I gotta be at Comic-Con. It's crucial. Then he changed. He changed to do a regular outfit. you know, talcum powder be damned, came out and talked to the crowd. Then they said, what about Superman? And he said, whoever's playing Superman, it's going to be great. And he got booed when he said that, when he implied that it might not be Henry Cavill. Now, he said that's what inspired him and lit a fire under him to go get Henry Cavill. He was like, oh my God, he got booed. So he went to the powers that be at Warner Brothers and was like, he got booed. And so he got that little 10-second cameo at the end of the movie. And then he went and promoted the film as a return for Henry Cavill, even though Henry Cavill had like no presence in the film and actually wasn't back. So it was a disaster. It was really, I think, in many ways, the beginning of the end of Dwayne Johnson's pitch for him to take over DC. In fact, this disastrous panel is one of the reasons that James Gunn got DC. So I think maybe he's worried that he doesn't want to have the same situation happen to him. So, however, I feel that James Gunn should just suck it up. I mean, hopefully you would think his work is strong enough to speak for itself. I think he should just, if I were him, I would just suck it up and present. Because I think it's really weird not to be there. I think it's weird to give the space to Matt Reeves. What if DC does win Comic-Con and it's not James Gunn who wins? What if it's Matt Reeves who wins? What if Matt Reeves announces, say, Mr. Freeze, and he like has the most amazing casting ever, where it just blows our minds, and we're like, oh my God, right? Wouldn't that be incredible? But then you'll be like, but why is Matt Reeves' Batman not the Batman then, if everybody's all excited about it? I mean, I just think that James Gunn is ceding too much ground to Kevin Feige and to Matt Reeves. It's a weird situation. So, and also, isn't he supposed to be supporting Matt Reeves? Shouldn't he be there just to be like, give Matt Reeves his benefit, you know, being like, he cares about Matt Reeves? You know, like, is James Gunn talent or the head of DC? He's really both, and this is why you can't really hire a creative person to be the head of a division. It's the whole reason that Dave Filoni doesn't want to do it for Star Wars, because these guys, their heart is in content creation. So they want to work on their specific projects. You really need a producer who will always be at the presentations, who doesn't need to be on set when Superman is filming and can go and present. So I think that it highlights like the problem with hiring someone like James Gunn to run a division. I'm still not totally sold on his Superman, but let's see. I think he's playing it very safe. But, you know, I think that the cape looks good. And I just think it would be wonderful for the project if James Gunn and David Corenswet were at Comic-Con. And you had those really nice pictures of them with the Comic-Con background behind them, standing together. Even if he came out in his suit, in his Superman suit. You know, like Tom Hiddleston did as Loki. I think people would be really, really, I think that would be great for the brand. And I think it's a missed opportunity. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before we go to the third story of the day? And then we'll do the Ask Me Anything. Oh, let's see here. No, Dory, I don't agree about Christoph Waltz, because Christoph Waltz always plays the same character. Okay, we'll do a poll, okay? What are you the most excited about with Comic-Con this year? Marvel panel, the Batman panel, and then all of it, and then I guess we'll say none of it. Anyone who's watching can vote in the poll, by the way. Marvel usually wins Comic-Con. It's very hard to beat Marvel at Comic-Con. I don't know if Kumail Nanjiani is Booster Gold, and it's going to be such a problem with the way fandom is right now. I don't even want to discuss it unless he actually is. And I love Kumail Nanjiani, by the way. Love him. He's just not Booster Gold. I wish Kingo was doing some stuff. That's right, Ben. I liked Kumail Nanjiani's Kingo. He was hilarious. That's right, Crunchy Scarf. Where's Sonic 3? David Wayne says, why does it seem Warner Brothers is trying whatever they can for DC and hope something sticks? Aside Joker and the Batman, I lost a bit of faith in the DCEU. I'm kind of nervous about James Gunn's DC, as I've made very clear. I mean, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm nervous. Albert says, Grace, are you sold on Corrin Sweat after seeing Twisters? Well, as you'll see me say in my review, he certainly has the physicality of Superman. He's much bigger than everybody else. He does have a very Midwest look to him. But I still don't see the charisma. Elpidio says, how successful would you say James Gunn actually is? I think James Gunn has always been like, I think he's always had niche sensibilities. I think he really, to his credit, really had lightning strike with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that he really just, everything came together just beautifully there. Just absolutely beautifully. But I think that the fact that nothing else has come together in that way for him shows that, I don't even know if James Gunn totally understands why Guardians works when his other stuff doesn't. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is James Gunn's best movie, to be honest with you. I wish he wasn't turning everything always into Guardians of the Galaxy. Danny, I know some of you really like Peacemaker. I also told you that I think James Gunn has a taste issue, but I don't see that so far coming into play with Superman. I think it's Superman, thankfully, seems very wholesome from what we've been seeing from the filming. So I'm not too worried about that anymore. I think that was a major issue for his Suicide Squad. Wanda's attorney says, do you think announcing more new projects at Comic-Con would help or hurt Marvel? I think that they should be careful, because I think a lot of these projects end up not coming to fruition. And I think that they should be very careful at this point about empty promises. And for instance, if they were to announce a Wanda movie, when would it possibly be? When they still have the Vision show that has to come out that hasn't even filmed. They still have Young Avengers. It would be so far away. I don't know how people would react to an announcement for a movie that would be so far off. Adam Sphere says, what about Kendall Roy as Mr. Freeze from Succession? That's actually very good casting. He's a very difficult actor, though. But if they could wrangle him, that's actually excellent casting. I was wondering, who could be exciting? And you might have done it, Adam Sphere. I think that would get a lot of people talking. David Wayne, I do agree that James Gunn's lack of professionalism sometimes is also an issue. I know that some of his fans really like that because they would hire all their friends, but then I would say they also would be seen as unprofessional. You're like, that's what I would do if I were in Hollywood. And it's like, well, then people would criticize you in the same way and say that you weren't particularly professional. I think the fact that you can see that so few directors do that goes to show you that it's not a good idea. I love Glenn Howerton, Mish. Hire him for anything. Sean Turner says the Batman works so great because of Robert Pattinson. You know why Robert Pattinson worked out so well? Because he's a huge Batman fan himself. And that was really cool. Robert Pattinson just turned out to be such a wonderful Batman. My favorite Batman, actually. Riley, Alexander Skarsgård would not be a good Mr. Freeze. Albert, Hollywood is definitely an industry about who you know, but not on camera. Yeah, Zoe Kravitz, Danny, was an excellent Catwoman. Oh, such a good movie. I loved The Batman. Nicholas said that Christopher Nolan always seems to cast the same people too. Not in every single movie. And not always the same people. His leads change a lot. You know, this is the first time Cillian Murphy's been a lead for him. He only had Leonardo DiCaprio once. I think that Christopher Nolan changes it up. I think he works with a lot of the same people behind the camera. Let's see here. Dreads, I agree. That Zoe Kravitz movie that she's directing with her, is he her fiance at this point? With Channing Tatum, looks really good. I saw that trailer. First, when I just heard it was her directing Channing Tatum, I was like, no thanks. And then I had to see it in front of, I saw it in front of a movie in the theater, and I was like, oh, that actually looks excellent. Michael Macenis says, gotta run. Apply the super chat to throat lozenges. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, I'm still getting over this cold. David Q, I'll take Tom Pelphrey as anything. I love Tom Pelphrey. I love him so much. A lot of great actors out there who could really use an opportunity. Sean, Austin Butler actually would be a very good Two-Face, but I gotta tell you, I'm so sick and tired of the Two-Face origin story. Like if there were another Batman project coming up, let's say, and it did Two-Face again, I would have mixed feelings about it. Wink, wink. But I would still think it was excellent. But I am really sick and tired of Two-Face's story. Wanda's attorney, Austin Butler. That's a pretty good Gambit choice. Let's see here. Let's see. I think we're ready for the third story. Film Fanatic, I'm glad that live streams are back too. And J. Jonah Jameson, that's funny that you say that, because if I were to review something soon, I might say we maybe should not do any more origin stories for these characters because we know them so well already. It's getting to be a little bit like the origin story of Superman. Of Superman and Spider-Man. You know, it's like when Spider-Man went into the MCU, we did not do another origin story. And I feel like for some of these iconic DC villains, we know how they came to be. All right, let's close the poll. Thanks for reminding me. All right. Okay. What are you the most excited about with Comic-Con this year? 45% of you are the most excited about the Marvel panel. Marvel always wins, baby. The Batman panel, 24%. That's pretty good. They're in it. They're in the race. 17% of you just don't care about the entire convention. And 12% of you are excited about everything. So that's nice. That's interesting. I like that. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the third story of the day, and then we'll do the Q&A where you can ask me anything that you would like. All right. Boom, baby. By the way, I love this little X-Men logo with the characters and the X. I don't know who made that, but it's real nice. It's real sweet. I found that today, and I was like, that's beautiful, man. That's just beautiful. All right. So it looks like Bo DeMeo ain't coming back because they hired a new writer to replace him as the head writer on X-Men 97. All right, so who did they hire? That guy on the top, Matthew Chauncey, who is the head writer on What If, on the What If animated series. And I have to tell you, the What If animated series is pretty good, and it has some excellent episodes, by the way. I thought like the Black Widow one with Captain Carter was very strong. However, I don't think that it has the focus that X-Men 97 had. So, What If is kind of all over the place, and that's like, it's okay because that's the kind of show it is. But I don't think this is the guy I would hire to replace Bo DeMeo, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess he was right there in Marvel Animation, so that's who they went with. And again, some What If episodes have been excellent, but it's nowhere near the caliber of X-Men 97. So I wanted to talk about why I think X-Men 97 is so good and why I feel that those qualities are unique to Bo DeMeo, and you would need to find a writer who had similar qualities if you were going to hope to replace Bo DeMeo effectively. All right, so sorry, I'm still sick. All right, so another thing that was concerning is that when they said that Matthew Chauncey had taken over, they said that he had been allowed to rework part of season 2. And you're like, what? Season 2 was such a gift. It had been finished before Bo DeMeo had been fired. For, again, reasons we don't know. But I'd be like, oh, thank God season 2 was already handed in. I'd be like, don't touch it. Just do season 2 the way it is. I wouldn't have futzed with it at all. Would you have played around with season 2? That to me boggles the mind. I wouldn't have touched it because season 1 went over so well. I mean, if it's not good, I hope Matthew Chauncey's not online. Because if season 2 isn't good, the internet shall come for him. I just wouldn't have touched it. That's right, Cosmics. No touchy. No touchy. All right, so the reason that I think Beau DeMayo worked out so well is, you know what? It turns out that a guy from the LGBT community who had a somewhat risque OnlyFans page was the perfect guy to do X-Men, okay? And it wasn't edgy in like a Deadpool and Wolverine, like edgy, like, kind of like, horsing around kind of way. Oh, thank you, Gareth. That's so generous of you. X-Men 97 season 1, I felt was adult in like a genuinely adult way. It not only had like sexiness to it, okay, but it was very inclusive and it dealt with really like strong themes that were ripped from the headlines. And it wasn't afraid to go there in a way that most studio content is, particularly from Disney. I think a lot of times with season 1, we were all shocked that X-Men 97 had been allowed to go there. And I think that's one of the reasons. Yes, it was very soap opera-y, Manny, as we discussed. It felt very soap opera-y. It had these crazy love triangles. It had characters being like ridiculously sexy and wearing outfits where you were like, what the heck is happening here? That character totally lost their shirt. But at the same time, it also had these deep explorations of themes and thoughts and like that. Think about the conversation and don't underestimate the sexiness, like the conversation between Eric and Charles and Eric's mind, Magneto's mind, when they were having that conversation in that bar, during a nondescript war, there was a current of sexiness underneath it. You would be like, are they going to kiss? But and I think that it added an electric charge to the scenes. But also the conversations that they were having were just so beautiful and so fascinating. And they were saying things. And for instance, I can't think of a writer who would be able to get away with more flirting with Wolverine and actually telling him that he loved him through Jean the way they did in the finale. I'm not even sure that Marvel knew that's what was happening. I think that Beau DeMayo might have snuck that in. But it was amazing. And it was perfect for the characters. And I just don't understand. I have some concern that might be removed. And that's what made the show so special and so effective. The X-Men are like the most progressive brand that there is. Andrew, the ratings are low, but the ratings are just as low for What If. The only reason that I think What If did a little bit better in the ratings last time was because it was a day drop. It wasn't a weekly drop. It was every day. So I think that almost made it a binge. But it's true. It is true, Andrew. The ratings have been low. But I think animation, we've seen it struggle across the board. X-Men couldn't get in, but neither could Invincible. It's been difficult. And also, yes, that's right. The episodes are short. Bad Batch, that's right, Danny. You can't get better than the Star Wars Bad Batch Season 3. Can't place. I think it's because it's animation, and I think it's also because of the running length. And also because these are new shows that have very little previous seasons to help push them up. But yeah. That's right. Arcane never placed, Jacob. Arcane, we'll see how Season 2 does. But I think animation is tough. But I'm nervous. I'm very scared. We'll see how it works out. I hope that Matthew Chauncey really takes a hard look at why X-Men 97 works so hard. I hope that he doesn't come in and go, oh, what would I like to do with the X-Men? I hope he goes, Why did people like the show so much? And tries to honor that. All right, so what do you guys think? Any questions or comments? Tyler says, I loved X-Men 97, but I have a problem with him writing Storm and Bishop off after episode 2 and erasing Sunspot's black identity. His treatment of his POC characters was not good. Tyler, they were, that's true. I think that while they were there, they were sidelined without a doubt in season 1, but it had seemed that they were very much going to change that with season 2 with the fact that Bishop and Forge are heading up the X-Men, now that the rest of the team has been scattered through time. Steven says, I don't understand why the creators of the 90s series didn't get promoted to be the face of X-Men 97. They worked on season 1. I think they were only advisors, Steven, because it's very different. I mean, I think that it certainly connects, but I think that the X-Men 97 show is totally different than the animated series from the 90s. I've interviewed the people who did the X-Men 90s show back when I was a New York Comic-Con host during the pandemic. And let me tell you, they don't have it in them to do what Bo DeMeo did. They're very nice people, but Bo DeMeo tapped into a modern quality that I think is one of the reasons the show connected so much with social media people. That I think that, it's a little bit like we talked about, I said Euphoria. And I think that, you need someone like that. J. Jonah Jameson, Bo DeMeo confirmed on Twitter that Morph was saying that he loved Logan. Is that what you're saying? You think he just presented it as Jean Grey professes her love for Logan? But he said he meant it to be that he did mean that it to be Morph who was actually doing it. Sophia says, maybe with Deadpool and Wolverine reintroducing the X-Men, fans will be more interested in X-Men 97. We're so close to Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't want to talk about it until I've seen it. That's all I want to say. Although Kevin Feige has been saying that he feels that that is the start of the X-Men in the MCU. Because, of course, Wolverine is there. Oh, J. Jonah Jameson saying he snuck it past Marvel. Yeah, I think he did. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think the lack of that kind of storytelling anywhere else makes me feel that maybe they didn't get... I mean, I got it immediately, so I'm not sure who's reading the scripts over there. But, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Let's see here. Jander says, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are both in Rio to promote Deadpool. I'll try to get a pass to watch the press conference. Good luck, Jander. I hope you get in. Oh, Nate, did I miss yours? Let's see here. Nate says, met Bo at Disney Pride Night a few weeks ago. Oh, that's so cool. He was so nice and obviously proud of his work. Wish it could have been worked out. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome that he was there. Disney puts on a very nice Pride event. That's right, Steven. Rogue is great. Although she did some crazy stuff in season 1. And that's right, Kareem. Bo DeMeo obviously was a big fan of the comics as well. And they've kept a lot of the directing talent, which is important. The nods to the comics throughout season 1 were really a delight. Casually Trevor, oh, thank you so much. I can't wait to see your review of the last episode of The Acolyte. My father died 4 weeks ago. Oh my goodness. But he and I loved listening to you. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. The first movie I ever saw with my father was at a drive-in in a movie theater in Naples, Florida with Twister. You're awesome. Ah, my heart goes out to you, Casually Trevor. I think that's so beautiful that you and your father had that relationship. I'm so touched that part of it involved my videos. As someone who is very close with my own family through a lot of times movies and TV, I know how the memories that can be forged. And I know you're having a tough time right now, but I love your positivity. I love that you're thinking of your dad in a positive way. And I'm certainly going to be thinking of both of you when I watch The Acolyte tonight. I'm very sorry for your loss, Trevor. But again, I think it's so beautiful that you had that. You and your father had that. You're all very kind to give Trevor your condolences. Ivan, that's very sweet of you. Yes, the Acolyte season finale is this evening. Okay, I think you guys are ready for the Q&A. Okay. All right. Let's see here. It's 4:26. You can ask me anything you'd like until 4:36, and then I must go. Mika says, what are your thoughts on the Alec Baldwin trial being dismissed with prejudice? Which means, hey Mika, how you doing? Which means he cannot be charged again. I wasn't sure how I felt about it until a friend of mine in the industry made an excellent point and said there were multiple producers on that film. And the fact that none of the other producers were charged means it was really just going after the celebrity. And my friend pointed out that Alec Baldwin was not hiring people. Alec Baldwin was not going over the daily schedule and stuff like that. And so if they were genuinely trying to get to the bottom of what happened, they would have been going after the producers who were doing the day-to-day producing. My friend also pointed out that it was really largely the armorer who was at fault, who, literally the armorer, and that person, that individual is currently in jail. They're trying to get out based on that Alec Baldwin ruling, but I don't think they will. Let's see here. Ramanzilla says, part of why I think 97 works so well is both the male and female characters have strengths and weaknesses and support each other. Often modern writers insult one to lift up the other. That's very true. That's one of my problems with Twisters, by the way, which my review will go up later. That's right, Lisa. The Acolyte comes out Tuesday night. It's a 9 o'clock drop. Jamie, no, my Acolyte video will go up tomorrow, but I'll try to get it up, hopefully about before or around noon. I'm really gonna get up early. I'm really gonna focus on it, but I still have some family stuff going on. Also, it's not good to stay up too late, for your health. And since I'm still sick, I wouldn't want to pull an all-nighter because of that, or I'll just never get better. I don't talk about screenings until they happen. Let's see here. I would love to do an Acolyte watch along, and I had considered it, but I have family stuff still, so I cannot do it. Let's see here. Powell, I'm sorry you pulled your message there. Steven says, speaking of X-Men, will you be checking out Jean Grey's Phoenix solo comic coming out tomorrow? I will. I don't have high hopes because a lot of the comics have been not great lately, but I will. Jamie, I will tweet something about the episode. I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to watch it when it drops at 9, but I am going to watch it tonight. That's funny, Lisa. Might as well watch The Acolyte tonight. Part of me's glad it's going to be over because it's been no picnic having to deal with the people who've been so upset about it. I'm glad that's going to be in the rearview mirror. Let's see here. Danny says, thanks, Grace, and all the BTT fam. As a resident Swiftie, I just wanted to say I'm avoiding all spoilers, but 100% hoping she comes up anywhere in Deadpool and Wolverine. Also, love and peace to all in a hard time for many. That's very sweet of you, Danny. But no comment about Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's see here. Oh, you guys are all very sweet. Thank you. Wanda's attorney says, did you ever manage to pick up the Wanda comic? I think I did. I don't think I liked it very much, but I'm glad that you did. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, The Boys has always been political. I'm curious as to how the Spanish version will deal with politics. I think it's been political, but I think it has become maybe, it's become so political that I will be curious to see what its ratings are like after the first week. Let's see here. Adam Sphere says, did you watch any of the Republican National Convention? Cringe. I am not watching that. But I will say that it's all over the Twitters, and I feel bad for any content coming out this week because it's going to be really hard to cut through that. Again, as I said on Movie Math, maybe the Acolyte will get a bit of a break unless people find a way to multitask. But it is quite the clown show over there. I don't know how they could possibly top night one. Let's see here. Sean Turner says, what about Tom Burke from Furiosa as Mr. Freeze? I like him, but he seems a little young to me. And I think he has a thicker, more athletic build. You know, Mr. Freeze is not athletic. Oh, Mr. Real Shane, that's such a nice thing for you to ask. But no, you guys are your support has been really wonderful. Oh, there's Powell. Says, I've managed so far to avoid all spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine. Are there many? I'm literally scared to look deeper into Instagram or X. I think try to avoid spoilers. I think there are definitely a couple of really fun things in there that I hope are not ruined for you, if not already. Thanks, Batman. I'm glad you like my shirt. Let's see here. John Thrasher says, random question. Do you believe in aliens? I don't know anymore. The world's so bizarre. If they showed up, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see here. Mars73 says, hi, Grace. What do you think? I mean, honestly, after Saturday, I was like, who knows? Anything could happen. Mars73 says, hi, Grace. What do you think, James Gunn? Why do you think he doesn't bring in Robert Pattinson's Batman into his DCU? Because Matt Reeves said no. They've been very clear. James Gunn asked, and Matt Reeves said no. And then James Gunn said, okay. I don't know why he asked. I'd be like, you work for me now. And your Batman is my Batman. I mean, what's Matt Reeves going to do? Walk? I dare him to walk. I dare him to walk. Let's see here. Ben 10 says, the Deadpool release and Comic-Con are on the same weekend, just after my birthday. I'm so excited. That's great, Ben 10. I'm really glad. I'm glad you're seeing it as a big gift for you. That's a great way to look at it. I'm glad you got a membership, Rez. Vincent says, will Marvel give clarification on Kang at Comic-Con? To be honest, I haven't heard, but to be honest with you, if I were Kevin Feige, I would just never mention it again. That's what I would do. And he'd have his fingers crossed that nobody asks about it. I don't think he takes questions, actually, at Comic-Con. So, yeah, I'd be like, look over here. Look over at this new Avengers movie. That's what I would say. I would not want to talk about it. Hey, just another guy named Harry. Tenerife, I want to move on from Kang too. I wasn't excited about Kang anyway. Danny says, will we have a House of the Dragon season finale watch along? We might. I got to see what's happening at the time. Montana Max says, will Warner Brothers push harder for Joker's Oscars than Dune? I think they're going to try and see how the chatter is going. I mean, let's see what the reaction to Joker 2 is. We don't know what the reaction to Joker 2 is. I told you I'm a little nervous. I think there's a small chance it could totally blow up in their face. So it might not even be an issue. Luckily, Joker 2 comes out early enough that it'll be very early in the awards campaign anyway. So sick. No, I'm actually not that sick, but I sound sick. Hey, Just Cool in One. Let's see here. Man in the Moon says, any tea on the Universal Monster Universe? Was the Invincible Man the start? Was it Abigail? Nobody knows. I think they're going to see how their theme park land does. Vanille says, hey, Grace, I don't know if you already spoke about this since I joined late, but do you have any thoughts about the Kit Connor Hulkling rumors? I don't know. It seems a little on the nose, don't you think, to reteam them from Heartstopper? Although, I mean, I wouldn't hate it. But let's just see how Wiccan... I wouldn't even worry about Hulkling until I saw how Wiccan turned out. I think we got to slow our roll, man. I think we got to slow our roll. I think it's too far in advance. let's see here. JJ Studio says, what are your expectations for the last 3 episodes of House of the Dragon? I hope there's more fighting, man. I know some people, I've seen arguments about this online with some people being like, you're all Philistines, this is great drama. But I'll tell you, the ratings are not great. They released the ratings for episode 4, and they were only a scooch higher than episode 1 for season 2. No one's talking about the show. It's not appointment television on Sunday night. And I think there's a problem there. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's not, I mean, honestly, if I ran HBO, I would say to Ryan Condal, do we need Sapochnik back? Was Sapochnik the magic sauce? Do I need to go get him? That's what I would be saying right now. Ivan, I gotta see Cassandra Nova before I want her to turn into a big bad. I would love for any Marvel villain to stick around, though, for more than one movie. Dream says, do you think we'll find out vibranium derives from the Celestials in Captain America? I don't know. That would seem weird to me and overly complicated. But let's see. Thanks, Dobby Mommy. Yeah, writer boy, very sad about Shannon Doherty, particularly the fact that because she didn't have health insurance as an actress, that she missed diagnosing her breast cancer at a crucial time. I can't think of a better, if I were a lawmaker or someone who had like tons and tons and tons of money to set up a fund, I would introduce something that said for life-saving tests that screen for certain things, they should be free. The government or society should provide those things. Nobody should die because they can't get the test that they need. With all the money in the world and all the people who are billionaires, Jeff Bezos could pay for everybody's mammogram for a year on the entire face of the earth. You know? Because you could just do it at cost. Like what Mark Cuban's doing with prescription drugs. Like the fact that anybody would die for that reason is just so incredibly sad. I think that's just a huge failure of society. But it just keeps happening. It's really sad. All right. That's right, Dimitri. There's no money in that, but you would think someone would step up. Cher stepped up and bought like Kevlar for the military when she found out they didn't have the bulletproof vest that they needed. I'm like, why does Cher have to pay for this? And they're like, I don't know what to tell you, man. She has to. And you're like, that's weird. All right. Okay. Oh, what do you know? A unicorn showed up at the last minute. Ran across the screen. All right. I better get on the Twisters review. All right, everybody. I wish Mark Cuban. I would like to see Mark Cuban run for office. I think he's a really good candidate. I think he's. I know people are over celebrity candidates, but nobody good wants the job. So I would really like Mark Cuban. I think he's a moderate, and I don't know. I'm not even sure what party he would go with, but I think he's a good choice. All right, we'll see. Maybe a stream tomorrow. There will be 3 streams this week, Dreads. If there isn't a stream, there might not. I mean, I'm not sure. If there is a stream tomorrow, it'll be a live breakdown of the Emmy nominations. So that's probably what it's going to be. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye.